Good morning, Lana Boyack of Radiance Yoga and Lifestyle School and lanaboyack.com. My reason for posting this morning's video is because yesterday I was speaking about feeling our fears and taking a big breath and taking a leap anyways. That the universe is supporting us. We are always being offered breadcrumbs and signs and guidance and support. Yet, our ego can have us operate from some of our old patterns and stories, right? So that's a part of being human, and it's just what it is. It's how do we love ourselves as we're rewriting our stories? So this morning, I had a really beautiful confirmation happen. I'll give you a little bit of background first. So in 2006, I did my first Kundalini yoga teacher training through Yogi Bhajan's school in New Mexico. And I absolutely loved that style of yoga. Nothing that I've experienced is quite like Kundalini, personally. And I've done a lot of really cool things, energetic, body-based, and such. But that was a really profound journey I went on. And yes, it was an immersion. And, you know, at that time in my life, all of those factors definitely combined to create this very unique alchemical experience that transformed me in a very special way. And yet, in about, I don't know, maybe 2009, I was craving going back into an immersion and realigning with Kundalini. Now, I've been teaching yoga for, 17, it's going on 18 years. I didn't make Kundalini classes publicly available because I knew that with already having a yoga studio and already having a bit of a challenging time keeping myself fed, because at that time there were very, very few instructors in Sudbury. Jen Wilson, the owner of My Yoga, and Willa Patterson, who also is at My Yoga, and myself were the three core people that were teaching yoga and were a part of Om Yoga Space on Elm Street. There were other teachers coming out, and some that were, you know, legends, one being Joan Polano. There was another lovely woman named Donya Jarrett, and even Dawn Condon was finding her own expression as a yoga teacher. Now, with that being said, it just meant that it was quite challenging to stay fed because we didn't have places to go, such as, you know, is the luxury of this time that we are living in, within this community at least. Yoga it's what people do, and there's so many options now, which is gorgeous. So knowing that I was already feeling a bit tapped out with my energy and attempting to stay inspired, I kept Kundalini for myself and would practice it for myself as a medicine tool for especially when I needed a real reset and a realignment. And would only weave it occasionally into classes, maybe offer a workshop occasionally, but it wasn't on my list of services. So lo and behold, it has been coming back, and last September I had put down a deposit to actually go and do my Kundalini 200-hour training again, so that I could realign and get fed in a really big way, something I need. something that I know will serve my body, my mind, my spirit, and my emotions in a profound way. It's such a discipline in another way for me, Kundalini, and it really puts my life in a more graceful state, and there is a confidence that I access that has staying power, unlike anything I've done. Okay, the rest seems to be fleeting for me personally. My choosing to not do the teacher training last year was because it would have included 8 trips to Ottawa, because this is an 8-month spread out training. And I was writing my own 200-hour teacher training, which was enormous. I mean, it's one thing to be handed a template and a yoga training manual and to teach that, but that's not how I am. I create. I'm a creator. So I created my own 200-hour teacher training, which was just a whole lot. It took a lot. So I knew that also stepping into immersing in a 200-hour training was probably not in my best interest at the time. So here we are now, and it has again been, it's like it pulls and pulls and pulls at me. And I've even committed to working with my friend Janine Saunders from Pilates Pro and collaborating. We are going to do a Kundalini and fascia 6-week training over 6 months. I'm going to be weaving in Kundalini into my September yoga teacher training, which is now going to be a 300-hour offering. And so it's been hovering, it's been orbiting me, the idea of Kundalini. And so I decided I would look into it yet again. And I must have subconsciously had been planning this, because at this point in my life I have very limited time available to me because of the trainings that I already run, and predominantly they're on weekends. I happen to have the time available in order for me to go and do this training that starts at the end of October in Ottawa, and yet I still wasn't convinced that it was the right time, right? Because my stories are, well, you already have a lot on your plate. Financially, this is not in your best interest right now. Energetically, are you going to be able to sustain this? It's a long drive. And what about the weather? Will you commit to it when you're back home? Just all the stories. We always look for the exit door. So then I said, well, give me a very, very clear sign. So I was out hiking, and for me, in my shamanic training, the frog has always been a very powerful animal totem for me. And I just so happened, and it was one of those synchronistic moments where you literally had to be looking at the right place at the right time, and there goes a little brown frog. And it wasn't even like it hopped across my path, it was just sitting there. And for me, frogs really represent leaping, taking the chance, which is why I spoke to leaping in my Truthful Tuesday. And yet again, okay, that's great and all that. Give me one more sign. And this sign, I want that message to speak to Kundalini specifically. So here's where it gets very cool. When I was in California in June doing my 2-week shamanic immersion with the Foundation for Shamanic Studies, I met this beautiful woman named Blessing. She wasn't even in my group training. She was facilitating another group, and we just had this instant connection. Powerful, powerful connection. And within, I don't know, 1 minute, we started speaking about Kundalini. And so I haven't connected with her since June, and it wasn't even about us necessarily making attempts to connect. Well, this morning, after I specifically put that request out, about an hour after, 2 hours after, I got a phone call from her because she's visiting Toronto and thought of me, and she called. And it was just the person I needed to receive the phone call from, because to me, she was the messenger spirit. And so, of course, we spoke about Kundalini on the phone call. So why I share this is because we are always being guided, we are being led, we are being encouraged to take the messages that we receive and take action, to not constantly look for exits and ways out, ways of staying small, playing small. And what I know, totally with a capital K, is that because I am publicly speaking this now and I am saying a full yes, I am once again going to dive back into the Kundalini, and I will be offering it in a way that I will offer it. Everything will fall into place. I will have the energy to do this. I will be able to gracefully balance a very full schedule. Maybe I'll stretch time and manifest more time. You know, we are living in marvelous, marvelous, magical times right now where our reality is not what we perceive it to be. This is an opportunity for us to dare greatly, love ourselves through our fear, and take the chances anyway, and know we are going to be supported in every way possible. So if there's something you need to be doing and you're not, and you've got the stories of, well, I don't have the money, I don't have the time, I don't have the energy, I don't have the know-how, I don't have the ability, I don't have the support to look after my children. Girl, I've done it. I've been there. I raised 2 sons on my own while I was building my yoga life. You know, while I was running a studio. And that kind of an income, it's like I wasn't getting child support and I was still able to do it. And I traveled the world to study with some of the most brilliant teachers. This is another luxury so many of you have now. You don't need to leave this community to study with masters, because we've stepped out, we've studied with the masters, and we've come back and we're offering to you. So trust me. It's the stories. It seems real, but please don't let that limit you. Purge the stories, work with somebody. I would be delighted to coach you through this. I would be delighted to help you break your patterns, break the stories that are holding you back. It reminds me of an elephant who has a little clamp and a rope tied to a stake, and that elephant believes that it is powerless. We are the same. We believe we're powerless. But once we shift our lens, our stories, our perspectives, and we start to access something greater than us and learn how to converse with that energy that is us, we co-create the most amazing things. So, my darlings, I wish you a marvelous, magical day filled with miracles. Dare greatly. Take a leap. Start small, but do something. And I'd love to hear from you. And once again, if you've watched this all the way through and you place a comment, something that's heartfelt, please, something that shows vulnerability, that shows courage, I'm putting your name in a draw for that alchemical healing session with me. And I love you, I respect you, I honor you. And I encourage you to be bold, be wild, and start living your life on your terms. It becomes so much more fun, okay? This isn't about being selfish. This is investing in the self. It's a very different thing. And this helps raise our vibration up so that we can meet challenges and adversity in a more graceful, elegant way. This is where we really show up as love, because we are filled. Have a wonderful one. Deep respect. Namaste. Blessings.